How to be a healer with the crystal singing bowls. I have been selling the crystal singing bowls, using them for healing in my work on myself and others, and teaching about sound healing with the crystal singing bowls for many, many years now. And one of the things that I notice people doing is go out and they get all excited about crystal singing bowls because of the way they make them feel, and they'll just start using them without any training. So while a little bit of this, maybe using them on yourself is okay, but when you decide to take an instrument that you don't know anything about and take it out in the world and use it on other people, there is training that is needed for that. And I always teach in my work that it's important to know that you're creating the healing with the person. It's not the crystal bowl. You don't just play the crystal bowl and like magic, poof, they're healed. It's like you have to know what the sound is doing and where it's going. And so a few things that I'm going to mention here might help you until you can get some training to know not to do these things when you're using crystal singing bowls. Number one, you never want to put the crystal singing bowls near a person's head, okay? You may have seen videos or people using the metal bowls around people's heads or putting them on people's heads. That is not the way that you're supposed to use crystal singing bowls. In fact, you can create damage in someone's head or perhaps their brain by doing that. And there's a difference between crystal singing bowls and the metal bowls. Crystal singing bowls have a pretty pure sine wave. And if you create a sine wave that's really pure and it's near someone's brain and you're in a certain type of environment, you can actually cause an aneurysm in someone's brain. So you don't want to ever put the bowls, the crystal bowls, on someone's head or play them near a person's head. And people just assume, just because they've seen it on YouTube or seen it somewhere, that they can use the crystal bowls like the metal bowls. They have completely different sounds. It's a completely different healing technique. So that would be the first thing that I want to mention, that I have people, asking me about that, and that is not a good thing to do. So please keep the crystal bowls away from a person's head. The second thing that I'd like to bring up where it's not good to use the crystal singing bowls. I went to a yoga class one time and it was an amazing class. The yoga practitioner there was an amazing teacher. And for some reason, we were in Savasana, so I was completely relaxed. I was feeling really good. I was giving myself a pat on the back for the hard work that I did to get my body fully aligned and relaxed, and I was feeling pretty good. But for some reason, this particular yoga practitioner, they had crystal singing bowls in the room, and she thought because she was a yoga teacher, she knew how to use sound. I don't know why she thought that, but then there was music playing and she went up to these crystal singing bowls and just started banging them. So my whole nervous system went into shock, and it just unraveled the whole class. Where I had become very relaxed and I was feeling so good and everything. And then my whole nervous system just, went into fight or flight after that. So the two things that she did wrong was she played the crystal singing bowls with music that was already playing that wasn't the same tonality. That was number one. Number two, she didn't know how to use her intention and attention to play the bowls in a way that would match the relaxed state that she had just put us in after doing all these asanas. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. So until you get some training, please do not play the crystal singing bowls for a group unless you really know what the sound, how it's going to affect the people in your class. The third thing that's very common that I see a lot, and I've seen this before because I've gone out and try to enjoy sound baths and sound journeys from other practitioners. Not the trained people who come through my program. They're trained, they know what they're doing. These are people that are just out in the community that are doing it, and I have on occasion said, oh, let me go check this out. This might be nice when someone's finally playing the sound for me, because I'm always playing sound for everyone else. This might be a nice break for me. So in this one situation, I went out to New York City, and there was a sound bath that was happening. I walked in, there were a lot of people there, and they said, okay, we're going to start the sound bath now. Please, get comfortable, find a position you're comfortable in, and we'll get started. Well, wouldn't you know it, and it was a really crowded room of people, and everyone just plopped down wherever they could find room, and we were all kind of squeezed into this tiny room, and everybody was lying down. The one thing wrong with that, when a person is healing and they discharge energy, it usually comes out the legs and the feet and the hands. And if a person's feet is toward someone's head in the room and they're discharging, which usually happens in a sound healing situation, it can keep the person in a state of fight or flight. The person then whose head is near the person's feet can actually take on that energy, which is not going to feel very good. And also, it just makes the room so that the energy is just kind of going everywhere. It's not a contained, beautifully flowing environment for the sound to travel. And so I've seen this a few times, actually, and so I think the experience comes in handy, because now when I'm teaching, I share this experience and I teach my students how to set up the room so that you don't have this happening. So if you're setting up the room in a certain way, and I give different diagrams in my program of that, then you don't have energy going all over the place. And another thing that can possibly happen is that energy can come into the crystal singing bowls while the practitioner is playing, and they're not aware of it because they're just like, oh, just get comfortable, lie wherever. They're not aware of where the energy or the frequencies, what the frequencies are even doing. It can come into the bowls, and there's a chance that you could just be transmitting it out, because these are powerful tools. They're conductors of energy. They're quartz crystal, just about 100% quartz crystal, and they are conductors of energy. And so, that's not something that I think most people know about, but they might leave the sound journey not feeling so good because they've taken on someone else's energy. And usually people who come to the events, not always, but a lot of people who are interested in healing events are very sensitive, and they take others' energy on anyways. So it's very important that you know how to set up the whole room. It's very important you know where the sound is going, what the sound is doing, and that you're very present and very mindful of how to play the bowl so that you don't strike it in a way that can make someone feel like they're going to have anxiety. And so these are just a few things I wanted to share. I hope that you guys will get some training, if not with me, definitely with someone, so that you understand that it's not just about buying crystal singing bowls, and people do it all the time, and using them with an energy work. I know a lot of people who are trained in Reiki, they'll buy crystal singing bowls and just play the bowls like they're trained how to be, how to work with sound. That's a different kind of healing modality. The sound works with frequencies and light, and the Reiki energy is different. Just because you do Reiki with people does not mean you should take a bowl and just play the bowl with your Reiki energy. There's a particular way of playing, there's a particular way of tuning in, there's a particular way of hearing the song of someone that is present in the room. And so I just wanted to bring these things up. I hope they've helped you. And if you're interested in some training, please contact me down at the link below in the description box. And I hope I see you on the other side.